All right, good morning. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. I have a chart of S&P futures up, and if you've woken up and you've seen any of the news, or you stayed up last night and saw any of the news, you can see what's going on. And I'm not going to rehash all of the news that's going on, but bottom line is U.S. President Trump gave an order to have a missile strike on an Iranian general. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. I know I will butcher it. At a Baghdad airport and a targeted strike, and it was a successful targeted strike. And from a U.S. perspective, and we saw futures drop sharply on it. It was only rumored that it was the U.S. that did it, and then the U.S. came out and took credit for it later on. And then, we saw global markets open up and bleed down throughout the night. They hit a low here about 3 hours ago, and, they kind of chased on lower. This is Iran vowing vengeance, so to speak, and vowing a harsh retaliation here. And since then, we have seen U.S. stock futures climb back a little bit, but they're down about 31 points as they sit right now. And if we go to any market website right now, it is full of it, right? I mean, it is just this, right? I mean, here's Market Watch, and here we go. It's Iran, U.S., and the whole situation. It's everywhere. Whatever angle you want on it, it's there. You go to Bloomberg, CNBC, it's all there. And so this is something that not new for the markets, but when we talked earlier this week, we talked about the fact that the market doesn't have anything new to react to. And so it's got to go to this to this period of reacting to data and earnings. There's no new stories in the China-U.S. trade war. There's no new stories in Brexit. There's even no new real political stories, even with the impeachment process. All the stories are old. They've all been played out. Yeah, there's more to come, but the market understands what's happening, right? This is something brand new. This is something for the market to basically have a different opinions on, to be able to have fear, to be able to have, this could all end in disaster. It has all of that, right? It has a lot of questions. And so when there are questions, the market reacts to the downside. And that's what we have seen here so far. So a very normal reaction given what we have seen, right? Now, what's it going to do from here? How's it going to manage from here? We could speculate on all sorts of things and all kinds of things. I'm not a Middle East political expert. I couldn't tell you whether this is going to escalate in full-blown war, or, if this is something that, maybe Iran backs down from some of the saber rattling they've been doing the last 2 years. I don't know, right? I could speculate. It doesn't quite matter what I think or what I would expect, here at this point, because there are just a million different possibilities and different things that could, ultimately happen and ultimately play out. So from a trader standpoint, I have to decide something, right? I have to decide, what am I going to do? How am I going to manage? From a challenge standpoint, it's very easy, right? Same process, right? Same process. I know where my stops are on my positions, right? Yeah, I entered them yesterday afternoon, and this event took place about, 3 hours after I entered, 4 hours after I entered? which is rather annoying. But I know where my stock exit levels are: 87.93, 145.20, right? And if I look here at Starbucks, 87.93. It's still about 80 cents above it. If we look at Disney, it's 146.50, and the stop level here for Disney is 147. 145.20. So we're not set to open up below the exit levels or anything like that. We did get a little bit of run up into the close on both positions. As it sits, okay, I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna wait for things. I'm gonna let things play out a little bit. Here this morning, and we'll see kind of where they are about an hour after the open. If we're at a stop level, I'll take them and go. But it's not holding them doesn't risk the challenge, doesn't risk the viability of the challenge going forward or anything like that. I can step in under very unusual circumstances, and I guess you could classify this as an unusual circumstance. And I could step in and pull off the risk and wait for the dust to settle. And ultimately, I may have to do that depending on kind of how things open up and how things react here this morning. We'll see. We'll see. But it's nothing that I have planned to react right here, right now, at this moment. With the challenge, there. So, very easy how to react here with it. Now, as many of you know, I do have a sizable position on gold. We've talked about that over the holidays. And I took a little off yesterday. I'll be taking a lot more off here this morning on the big pop. And, just waiting for the next dip to add some more. I won't go to zero on the position. I'll still have some on the position. But I will use this jumping gold this morning to pull some off. And a lot of that just simply has to do with the fact that I don't think Iran, I don't think Iran is going to do anything significant to escalate things from right here where it is right now at this time. I think ultimately they could and they will, but I don't think it's going to come today, tomorrow, this weekend. I don't think it's going to be something that's off the cuff, rash. I think they have to kind of look at this thing and go, wow, that was really bold. And yeah, we know we're dealing with a different leader. Because this is not a strike that would have been ordered by, the prior U.S. presidents. I think that is very clear. So I ran past to kind of sit and go, wait a minute, okay. We're dealing with someone who is a little more unpredictable, who, we don't want full-out war. We want oil prices up. We want the saber rattling. We want, some global pity on our side. What's the best way to get that? And I think that they may go back and there may be some cooler heads prevail strategically. And so we'll see kind of how that happens, but that's my suspicion. With that suspicion, I'm going to pull, some gold off, wait for a better entry period here for that. This drop is going to give a lot of pullbacks, pullbacks in some very high-quality stocks. Things like, let me pull it up here, but things like Bank of America. The Bank of America is going to pull back 60 cents here. Are these pullbacks going to be super buyable? I don't know yet. And I'm very interested to kind of see what it looks like here this morning. And, if we're seeing mass breakage of 7-day and 20-day moving averages, the risk of a more serious pullback is high, right? Is high. But this is not an event that affects earnings. It's not an event that affects the economics. So typically on those events that don't affect earnings or economics, we don't see significant pullbacks. It's 1, 2, 3-day type events. And we'll kind of see how it plays out. But that's the norm. That is the norm. where it's a 1, 2, 3 day tight pullback when earnings or economics aren't involved, like they are right here. Because let's face it, this is not a global economic story. Yes, oil prices are up $2. How much global economic effect is that going to have? Not a huge one. We do see speculation out there of oil going to 80 and all that kind of stuff, but we'll see. We'll pump the brakes on that just a touch. But anyway, that's the landscape this morning. And from a challenge standpoint, that's how I'm going to deal with it. Just normal process. And then kind of keep my eye on it. And do need to jump in or cut some risk a little bit. No, I'll do that. But overall, most likely we'll just kind of continue to follow the process and carry on through. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a great one. I'll be back on with you here about an hour after the market opens. We'll talk to you then. Take care.